Greetings, legendary readers. Welcome to Larry's Legendary Library, where I explore science fiction, fantasy, and other bits and bobs. Well, today I will have another Magazine Monday episode for you. Last week I talked about water worlds, water planets, underwater type adventures. And today I thought we would kind of go the opposite direction and talk about ice planets and places where it's very cold and inhospitable. And so bundle up and let's dive in. First, we have Ice and Mirrors by Larry Niven and Brenda Cooper, Asimov's science fiction, February 2001, and the art by Michael Carroll, and the art is illustrative of our story that we'll cover here. Our main protagonist is Kimber Walker, a top student competing for a coveted off-planet assignment. Only 4 students out of 30 will be selected, and these assignments can define their career. Kimber is chosen as a chief surveyor alongside Eric Keenan. This is her former boyfriend, and right away there's tension. Eric was a better student on paper, but Kimber is selected above him and to be his supervisor, and for reasons that aren't readily made known at the beginning. Their relationship ended badly, and this new power dynamic just seems to make matters worse. Their mission is straightforward, or so it seems. They're to survey an ice-covered planet to confirm that the Thray, sentient alien species, are cleared to terraform and colonize the planet. Once they arrive, Kimber descends to the surface while Eric remains in orbit, providing logistical support. The planet is a frozen wasteland, beautiful, hostile, and unforgiving. And then Kimber discovers something horrifying, evidence that the Thray wiped out an indigenous sentient species to make the planet terraformable. If this information were to come to light, then the Thray would lose their rights to the planet, and if Kimber reports it, their lives would be in serious jeopardy. The situation spirals fast with political pressure, moral choices, and real lethal consequences for their decisions. And I'll stop there to avoid spoilers. I love this story. The frozen setting is vivid. The alien species feel genuinely alien, and the mystery surrounding the planet's past is compelling. The tension, both political and personal, is handled beautifully, and the climax is intense and satisfying. The evolving relationship with Kimber and Eric adds real emotional weight to the story. I give Ice and Mirrors an L5 legendary. It is an outstanding novelette, and I would certainly encourage you to look it up and read it. The next story is Fermi and Frost by Frederik Pohl. This is the Isaac Asimov's science fiction magazine, January 1985. Our protagonists here are Timothy Clary, a 9-year-old boy, and Harry Malibert, a SETI scientist. The story begins at Kennedy Airport just as news breaks out of a nuclear attack. In the chaos, Timothy is separated from his family, and Harry manages to secure passage on a plane and takes Timothy with him, claiming the boy as his son. They land in Keflavik, Iceland, just before the unthinkable happens and spreads even further. Iceland is also hit. What follows is a grim, methodical descent into nuclear winter. Pohl takes his time here, describing worsening conditions, not just Iceland, but worldwide, starvation, freezing temperatures, infrastructure collapses, and millions upon millions of deaths. One of the chilling ideas of the story is that eventually death by cold becomes more common than death by the nuclear fire and the aftermath. Iceland survives longer than most, partly due to experience with cold weather climates and their adaptation to it, and partly because of its small population and manageable resources. But even their resilience has limits. I really enjoyed this one. The deterioration of the society feels frighteningly plausible, and the cold is ever present and it seeps into everything. The ending is understated but effective and emotionally resonant. I give Fermi and Frost an L4 loaded. It is well worth reading. Pohl is clean, readable, scientifically grounded, and quietly devastating. I've enjoyed everything I've read by him. Flight on Titan by Stanley G. Weinbaum. Astounding Stories, 1935. I don't actually own this copy, but was able to read it online. So we're going to jump all the way back 90 years to 1935. Before I summarize this one, I want to read just the opening lines because it'll set the tone for our ice planet theme. The gale roared incessantly like all the tormented souls since creation's dawn, driving the two sliding and tumbling into the momentary shelter of a ridge of ice. A cloud of glittering ice needles swept by, rainbow-hued in the brilliant night, and the chill of 80 below zero bit through the sponge rubber of their suits. And just like that, we're on Titan. Our protagonists are Tim and Diane Vick, New Yorkers living in the year 2142. There's been a financial collapse that's eerily similar to the Great Depression. I'm sure very much on Weinbaum's mind at the time in 1935. Hearing rumors of precious gems called flame orchids, they decide to head to Saturn's moon, Titan, and take an enormous risk traveling there and living there in order to strike it rich. They find some success locating 18 of these rare jewels and encounter strange and imaginative alien life along the way. And then disaster strikes. Their domed habitat is destroyed, leaving them 100 miles from a city called Niven there on the moon, and they're exposed to temperatures that plunge as low as 150 degrees below zero with constant gale force winds. What follows is an 8-day horrific trek through one of the harshest environments imaginable, survival often coming down to just sheer luck. This story is easily the physically most hostile environment of the three stories. The journey itself is harrowing, and the alien encounters are creative and memorable. That said, the story does feel dated, certainly understandable given that it's 90 years old. But still, the sense of danger, the vivid description of the environment salvages this story. I give Flight on Titan an L3 legit. It is worth reading, though it doesn't quite hit the heights of the other two stories. So that was my journey to two ice planets and one frozen apocalyptic Earth. Have you read any great ice planet stories? I kept thinking about The Left Hand of Darkness and the journey through the Northland in that novel. And if you have other novels in mind, I would certainly like to hear about them in the comments. I might just move them onto my TBR because these kind of environments are fascinating to me. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, stay legendary. Legendary.